Food is more than just what's on our plate. It's the places where it's grown, it's the people who grow it, and so much more. Join me, Janice Person, your host, on Grounded by the Farm every other week as we talk about the foods we love. For this episode, we are in Northeastern Oklahoma. It's a beautiful area. Not sure if you've been here before. Pretty hot and humid this time of year. Today, what I've done is go to visit 2 different dairy farms, and so excited. We've got video from both of those on the website, groundedbythefarm.com. Midwest Dairy actually created this event for a number of people around Oklahoma and myself to come in and meet these farmers on 2 different operations. Really appreciate that. And they're sponsoring this episode. That's a first for us. You may notice that in this, I interview 3 different people. So you'll find that I'm trying to keep them straight for you as we do it. You got Charlie and Anthony, who farm with the rest of their family, their dad, mom, and brother. And then Logan, who farms on his own for the most part, but his sister actually is part of his operation, and his parents are incredibly supportive. With that, we're going to start with Anthony. And Anthony, I want you to tell me a little bit about your farm's background, and how would you just describe your family's operation for our listeners?
So our family farm includes 2 generations, 3 generations, I guess, with myself, my 2 other brothers, and my mom and dad being primary operators on it. We operate primarily Holstein dairy, and among the other crops that we raise and beef cattle that we raise.
So you grew up around dairy farming though, right?
Yes.
It's multiple generations, like your grandparents, your great-grands, or when did it start?
So technically, I guess even generations before that, everybody always had a milk cow. So everybody milked cows. But my dad and my mom started dairying in 1972.
Okay. I should have asked you, what town are you in?
Shoto would be the address in town.
Shoto. And what's the name of the farm?
Charles H. and L&L Coblentz Dairy Farms Incorporated.
All right. Now, Logan, tell me a little bit about your farm and sort of what you're doing.
So our farm is Courtney Farms Dairy, part of Courtney Farms, which is a multi-generational family farming operation. There's currently 3 generations on the farm at present. I didn't grow up in the dairy industry like Coblentz's did, but I grew up in production agriculture with beef cattle, crops, and hogs. Dairy was a passion that I've had a big interest in pretty much all my life.
Yeah.
Through organizations like 4-H, I became involved in showing dairy at county fairs, state fairs, those type of events. And I decided I wanted to make it my career choice as an adult. So in 2017, we started milking commercially. My sister and I own a pedigreed herd of registered jerseys. So a little bit different than what most dairy farms are with the big black and white cows. We milk little brown cows. So that's kind of...
And I hope you don't mind. So on the Coblentz's, we have like from the 70s. And you said you started. Did you start in college or after college?
So after I left college, I started dairy farming. I have some very supportive parents who were very encouraging my career choice. Probably not most parents would be happy about their kids coming back home to milk cows, but I made it work, and it's something that I really enjoy every day.
One of the things I think is really interesting, Charlie, when we got on your farm today, your dad had given us some background and everything, but when we came in, the first building we saw was the milking barn. Would you mind telling sort of how that setup works and sort of how you keep your herd doing what it needs to do?
Yeah, so the first thing you would have saw was our milk barn. You stood in the calf feeding room where we make the bottles of milk to feed the baby calves. You went to there first, and then went in the milking parlor is a double 30 with 60 milkers, 30 on each side. And we designed that. We use a design for a milk barn that could milk cows 24 hours a day, but we're trying to milk our 400 cows in a morning and evening chore as quick as possible. And 2 guys milk or gals, which, by the way, women are always better milk hands. They would be they're always more sensitive, always more caring, always do a better job. I shouldn't tell, but most of the time they do a better job. But and we need help right now. So if you know anybody wants to milk cows around Shoto area, Shoto, Oklahoma, come on down. Especially if you're a caring, sensitive woman, and you are hired.
He
So-
is married, ladies,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
don't be
yeah.
thinking this is a pickup line.
Okay, so we're trying to milk 400 cows basically as fast as we can twice a day. So that's the way our barn's set up. But we put 2 or 3 extra people in there, and you can really knock it out fast and get it done. But that's
Okay,
how
so
we're
as
trying.
fast as you can. Is that good for the cows or?
Yes, the less time they're standing up in the lot on concrete,
Okay.
the better it is on them.
I
So
think that's like farmers. They don't like to stand on concrete
exactly.
with boots very long,
Exactly.
right?
It hurts me to stand still, so on
Okay.
concrete. But same way with the cows. So they're in and out as fast as possible. Cow milk's an average of 7 minutes. Some are from 2 minutes to 15 minutes. But we're trying to get them in and out as fast as possible. Get them back to their beds, to the feed, to their water tanks, and to their where they can hang out and be nice and comfortable.
And since we weren't at your barn at 5 o'clock in the morning, I wasn't able to get video of the milkers working, but I do have video of the parlor and what it looks like. And I do have some of that kind of video from another farm. So I might splice some in so people can see generally how it works. Because yours, you have those 30 bays you said on each side. So you got 60 cows in there at any time when you're milking.
Yes. Yeah, it would be very unusual to walk in there and see 60 milkers on at the same time, but it would not be uncommon to walk in and see 30 milkers on one side that were just put on.
And
in there.
30 cows coming in
30
on the
cows
other
coming
side
in
or
on the other
leaving.
side, yes.
Okay.
And there's the first couple hundred cows will come in on their own and turn as fast as they can just to be ready to be milked. And then
Yeah.
we're always training. We calved out 60 heifers in the last 2 months, so we're always training some new cows also. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a process.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about milking at your place, Logan, because it's pretty different.
So it is different. Walking into our barn versus Coblentz's barn does look different, but the same basic principles apply. We're wanting to get our cows milked and back to where they can be comfortable, and we want our cows to, be calm and, everything while they go through our barn. Something a little different. We were the first robotic dairy in Oklahoma. It's new technology for this part of the country, but it's
I got to
older.
tell you, when I told a friend last night I was coming to a robot dairy where robots milk the cows, they really were, I think they thought the Jetsons kind of robots or something.
Oh, yeah. And that's a lot of people are surprised that cows can be milked with robots. It's technology that's been around for quite a while in Europe. Some of the oldest robots are 20 years old. So it's new technology here, but it's not new technology as a whole.
Yeah.
Unlike how Charles's dairy, they bring in, 60 cows. We're only milking 1 cow at a time. So it looks like we're milking slower, but we're milking day and night. So the cows freely come and go as they choose from pasture, come up into the barn to eat, to get milk, to go hang out with friends, do whatever they're going to do throughout their day. So it's really about free cow flow. The cows do what they want. We make sure our cows are milked twice a day. We go through the herd and make sure that, Samantha May and whoever has visited the robot and got milked, we shoot for 2.5 visits a day is kind of our goal.
Yeah.
But higher cows that are higher producers, making more milk per day, can milk more times a day if they want to. So it's very customized to the cow.
Yeah. It's funny, but looking at both. So I learned early on that cows only moo when they need something or when they sense something is wrong or something like that. And moving through the cattle in both places, the cows seem pretty quiet and pretty content, I would say. Would you say, Anthony, that part of that is your cows get a routine, they know they're being cared for, or what is it that makes them so happy-go-lucky?
So cows really like normal. They thrive with normal. If random people show up, it does kind of throw them off. They're like, what's going on? They're very curious animals, but just keeping them quote unquote normal, and
They like a
they're
routine
eating.
like a toddler.
Yep. So if you all of a sudden don't let your toddler sleep, they don't get their nap, they're going to act different.
Yeah.
So basically, as long as they're left alone to do their thing like they normally do, eat, drink water, lay around, take a cow nap.
When we were going through the barn and people will see we were on a wagon with hay, I noticed that the cattle, they kind of had like beach access with sand or something.
Yep. So they have sand beds. It's also for comfort, but also bacteria and things don't grow in sand. So it's a good medium to clean and to let them lay in.
That makes sense. And I noticed on the concrete, there was always scoring of the concrete. I know a lot of people like to do that with their floors these days at home, but that's a piece you mentioned about how the cattle walk and the cows then won't slide so much.
Yeah, so cattle hooves are very hard, and then they're kind of top heavy, so they're they're on a slick surface.
Yeah.
If it's no groove or anything like that, they'll slide, and you don't want them to fall. So we take a lot of effort to get grooves and things to make sure that if they ever happen to slip or they can catch themselves.
Those Holsteins are pretty big. They're the black and white cows that everybody always thinks of. And what makes a Holstein so great in the dairy world?
It's kind of a generational thing, or even longer, how they've been bred through the centuries. They give a lot of milk. They basically, even for their offspring, no normal calf could consume all the milk that one Holstein cow produces. Mm-hmm. But we do have some crossbreds in the herd for components, but also trying to fit different, it would be great to milk all different types of cows at once, but your facilities, a Jersey cow is a lot smaller than a Holstein cow. So then if they don't fit right in the stall, then they may be defecating in the bed or
I hadn't even thought about that.
They don't fit in the stall at the milk barn.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of room to kind of bounce around. So it's nice to have more of a uniform size. That way that there's not a big, variance, because sometimes the Jerseys are kind of funny that they like to lay in the beds backwards. And so they'll be,
Jerseys have more personality.
They do. They know.
Okay.
They sense open gates.
Yeah.
They don't even have to see them. They just sense them. They know they're there.
Well, and most are able to open a gate too. So
Okay, yeah, they are. Real quick, this is not negative toward Holsteins or anything, but when a Holstein is born, they are looking for a reason to die. When a Jersey's born, they are lively.
It is true.
We're so glad Charlie weighed in on that. You should see the response from his parents in the background. So, Logan, you guys have Jerseys, which I think are the prettier cows. They've got the long eyelashes, which are really fashionable right now. But tell me a little bit about the difference in those and some of the things that you do at your place, because they've got barns separated from the milking. They've got your operations just set up totally different, but are you taking good care of those cattle?
So our operation is quite a bit different than the Coblentz's farm. Our cows, they don't have sand beds to lay in. We utilize pasture. So we utilize systems such as holistic grazing to manage our grasslands.
Yeah.
Conservation is a big thing for us. So we're using dairy cattle to manage grasslands that bison would have in past centuries. So it's part of our conservation program on our operation. So we need a cow that's a little more heat tolerant. Holsteins like fans and stuff a little bit more. They need a little bit different housing. The Jerseys can be out. They're out in the fields all day. They travel a little better. They're a little smaller. They're a little more lively. So also a big plus for us. Milk is priced according to components partially. So components are butter, fat, and protein. So we're really wanting to breed for those really high fat and protein cows that makes yummy stuff like cheese, ice cream, and yogurt. Who doesn't like butter fat? So it's a little bit different. Also, we enjoy breeding Jerseys. All of our cows are pedigreed. They have 150 years of breeding behind them. It's carefully selected, and we exhibit our cattle at shows and stuff. So it's fun to take cows that you've bred at the farm to a show and come back with ribbons. And
I got selfies with one of yours.
Oh
today.
yeah, and that's another plus. The show cows, they love taking pictures. So that's a big plus.
So he mentioned some of the types of sustainability work he's doing. Your farm and operation is just very different, and I know you do the cropping on that side. Now, Charlie, can you tell me on the sustainability side, since you guys don't put your cows out on pasture as much, or do you?
Yeah, we have several pastures that the cows can also go to. It's really, they're open right now. They're open to go out to pasture, but they choose to lay in the sand beds underneath the
They're
fans.
like
on
me.
A day like today,
I would choose to be inside today too.
But if the weather's nice, they will go out. They will go out. But today they're hanging out inside.
All right. And so help me understand some of the other sustainability pieces. So you do have that option of going out on the field and having sort of the grasslands are managed and some of those pieces. What else are you guys doing in terms of sustainability on the farm? And Anthony, would you mind covering that?
So in that freestall barn that they stay in, the barn is scraped clean once a day to twice a day, and that manure is collected and then put into a spreader, and then it goes out on all the farm ground fields. So the crops that we're raising, the corn silage and corn that we're raising and alfalfa, we take that manure back out to the farm fields and spread that out over the ground.
Oh, that's fantastic, right? It almost gets to like composting or some of that kind of thing that people do at their home gardens or something.
Sure.
Can you help me understand some of those other pieces? You also do some cool stuff with water, I think, management on the farm. When we were looking through the parlor, wasn't there a neat piece where y'all were doing some things to kind of take the water through? It was caught right there.
Yes, so we catch every drop of water in the milk barn or on the concrete there.
Okay.
And it will end up in our lagoon, which is, it's a big
pond.
It looks like a big pond,
Yeah.
basically. And we will, this summer, as it gets drier, we will pump that out onto our farm, onto our fields, and water crops with it.
And part of the thing that I find just amazing is you guys are checking for bacteria and stuff in that kind of product, as well as, you're worried about food safety with the milk and the cows and stuff, but you're also very focused in on bacteria entering any of those other systems, Logan?
And another great thing about that, it's nutrients-rich water. It's not just
Yes.
runoff water. So it has nutrition that can go and grow crops and stuff. And so it's not a waste product. It is a valuable part of any farm, really, that utilizes that water.
And part of it, you test it for the types of nutrients it offers as well as the bacteria, right? So what the nitrogen amount is so that you know really what you're feeding the soils to get what you need out of it.
Yes, and that's one of the things is recent change on all these. Those milk cows, our milk cows are eating about 1,000 acres of corn a year.
Okay.
So we're constantly making that circle with the lagoon water, which is full of nutrients, or the cow manure. We're grid sampling our soils to figure out what each acre needs. So
right.
that's a recent change, is trying to figure, instead of just dumping everything out there, we're trying to grid sample and figure out what we actually need for each acre.
So you guys really are trying to work the animals and the land and everything together. Can we talk about something a little more exciting, like your favorite dairy foods? Okay, so who's going to go first?
Ice cream.
Anthony is weighing in with ice cream.
Every time it gets brought up that maybe we shouldn't milk cows anymore because it's very hard to make money milking cows. It's very stressful, and it takes 7 days a week. But I always think about who's gonna make the ice cream if we stop.
Logan, are you an ice cream guy?
Well, ice cream is obviously wonderful, but I prefer cheese. It's far more diverse, and so it's,
Yeah, you
wonderful.
even had cheese out for us today, so that's like bonus points for having snacks available. Do any of you guys do you make any of your own ice cream? Like every now and then, do you have one of those old churns that my dad used to make me turn?
Not yet.
I love it. Any favorite recipes that your family does that includes dairy? Do y'all use a lot of yogurt type products?
Oh, like cheesecake.
Oh, like cheesecake? You're a big cheesecake family? Oh, my brother-in-law has a cheesecake that's amazing. He's a fantastic cook when it comes to cheesecake. Logan, how about your family?
We do a lot of yogurt.
Do you?
That's kind of a big one at our house.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of milk, but I'm going to tell you, I'm one of those people that has a little problem with lactose. So some of the filtered milks and some of those things has made it easier for me to enjoy more milk. I'm a big fan of chocolate milk, especially any of the cream top kind of products. I'm a big fan of those. And I understand it helps me replenish with the nutrients, like if I've been really sweating, having a hot day, something like chocolate milk gets me back on the road faster.
Chocolate milk is great. I mean, what's not to like on it? We consume a lot of dairy at our house. I mean, ice cream is probably my favorite, but do I eat ice cream all the time? Not so much, but cheese is probably in every meal. Yeah,
I've known a lot of farmers, and not until I started working with dairy farmers did I always have milk brought to the table. It's not something that happens, when you're eating dinner in the city. We don't always have milk on the table, but I love how many farmers actually get milk on the table because they know it's actually delivering all those great nutritional kind of components. So like vitamin D, calcium, blah, 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 blah. All those different things, right? I'm a whole milk girl myself, but I've found reasons for all the other types of milk and heavy creams, all those kind of things fit in different places. Do any of you guys really know about that nutritional side of the dairy piece?
milk is one of the only things in nature that provides all nutritional needs. I mean, it will sustain life. So, I mean, that alone speaks a lot that milk can sustain life. So the milk fats and sugars in it are highly nutritional, full of vitamins,
I really appreciate it. It's got that combination of protein that's hard to get in a drink or something. You know, like protein isn't automatically, unless you're getting one of those weird shakes with some kind of powders in it and stuff. I'm a big fan of getting some protein because it'll make me feel full for a little bit when I'm kind of between things. But that upcycling, like I can't eat grass. I don't want to eat grass. I appreciate that your cattle eat grass. They eat things that I would never want to eat. I'm a big fan of cottonseed oil. You can fry beignets in that all day, but I don't want to eat the fuzzy seed. And you guys showed me that that's in your rations for your cattle, right? So what kind of things do cows need to eat to feel happy?
So we do have a paid nutritionist that we use for formulating our rations and stuff like that for the dairy. But I mean, just like, you know, we need a well-balanced diet for whatever we consume, kind of the same thing with cows, making sure we meet their energy requirements, their fat needs.
Well, dairy cows are like extreme athletes. They need a very carefully balanced diet, and it is easier to use a nutritionist to make sure that we're meeting those goals the same way a Olympic athlete is not formulating their own meal plan. There is somebody that's, you know, gone to school to know how to do a nutrition plan to meet their optimal potential, and it's the same way with a dairy cow.
That's a great way of thinking about it because they're focused on their job at hand on a regular basis. And on your farm, they actually get Scooby snacks delivered in the robot.
Yeah, so our cows are fed while they're being milked, and we feed a sweetened grain in there that's sweetened with molasses. So it probably wouldn't be sweet to us if we ate it, but to them, they think it's really something special. So we're bribing cows with treats.
It happens. I can be bribed easily. Is there some big watch out?
Just real quick,
Charlie always has something to say.
We have to make money to keep doing this. Financially, it has to make sense. But if our cows are not happy and comfortable all the time, they cannot produce milk. So cow comfort is everything to us.
I appreciate that. That's a real clear line. It just makes good sense long term, and it keeps those cows in your herd for years to come. So,
well, in the same way a good employer takes care of his or her employees, it's the same way with cows. We want the cows to be around for a lot of years. Cows that are in the herd a long time are going to produce good quantities of milk. Like they were saying, there's not big profit margins in milking cows.
Yep.
So you have to partially want to be doing it to start with. But if we can keep those cows in the herd longer, we have cows that, you know, are in the herd for years and years and years, 9, 10, 12 years old. And, you know, they're still in the herd living their best life, making milk. And that really comes down to cow comfort.
Well, I really love that we've been able to see two really different dairies. We'll have that video up on the website. And then having this conversation, there's some real differences in the way you milk and the way you choose which breeds of cows on your farm and things. But at the end of the day, what I'm hearing is you both farms are focused in on animal comfort. You're both looking out for the environment, and you both are presenting a healthy, wholesome product for us at the end that's really safe for consumers, and that is the kind of thing that you'd be happy to serve your children or my nieces and nephews and things along that line. And I think that's what makes dairy a pretty different piece of the world, is that you guys get to do all those things. So thanks so much for sharing your stories. We'll make sure that we put any of the social media that you guys want to share with us, so if folks want to get back in touch. And this episode is sponsored by Midwest Dairy, so we'll make sure you have all the information on how to get back in touch with them as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.